Greetings of peace, and welcome to the course, Nation Building, Introduction to the Science of Warfare. I will be your instructor for this course. I am Brother Mikaeel Shabazz Muhammad. I represent as the Allah Team Minister of Defense. I'm a member of the Nation of Islam under the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his representative, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C. I've been a student of military science for more than 30 years. I'm also a martial arts instructor with over 35 years of experience and training. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to present this course to you on the subject of the science of warfare. Though it is an introductory course, there will be much that you'll be able to extract from this course that you can apply in many dynamics of your life. Because in my opinion, the science of warfare is essential to life. Years ago, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad made a profound statement of many of his profound statements, but in particular he stated that there were three sciences that the former slave master never wanted his slaves to learn. Those three sciences being the science of business, warfare, and the science of mating. I did some research to try to figure out what was the significance of those three particular sciences and why did they not want us to learn those three sciences. And through research, I found that those are the three sciences that are necessary to rule. You may say, well, Brother Mikaeel, I have no interest in learning anything about warfare. I'm not a soldier. I don't intend to join the armed forces, never been a part of it, or don't want to be a part of any paramilitary force. So why should I take or be interested in this course? Well, outside of those three sciences that the former slave master never wanted us to learn, in particular, another profound statement that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught, he said that when you study the circumstances surrounding the birth or the origin of a thing, you can determine the nature of that thing. And he took us to the root of the first God that created himself or willed himself into existence from nothing. And he said that that God was the God of war because he went to war with darkness to manifest in the darkness what was within. And so everything that is patterned after the first God that came into existence, that willed himself into existence, has that nature of conflict or struggle. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in his brilliant lecture, which became a study guide series, he talked about the struggle and how struggle is ordained and how that's implied through certain passages of the Holy Quran. And he gave excellent examples in nature of how everything that comes into existence is patterned after that first creator. And so all creatures that come into existence, they come through some type of struggle, be it birds out of the egg, a mother giving birth to a child through the womb, the pain that is associated with that struggle. But everything in life has to struggle. And so therefore, since war is defined as any active hostility or struggle, then the science of warfare, science meaning the root word scientia. Science comes from the root word scientia, which means to know. So when I speak on the science of warfare, we're talking about the knowledge of warfare. And again, war is any active hostility or struggle. And warfare is defined as engagement in or the activities involved in war or conflict. And therefore, the science or the knowledge of warfare is basically essential to life. So why this course? Again, you're going to learn in this course some key principles and things that you can apply to any dynamic in life. Our great scholar, Neely Fuller Jr., he said that there are 9 major areas of human activity, which were economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Well, with military science, I can apply those principles to any one of those dynamics. So in this course, I see that the science of warfare is applicable to all those areas of human activity. And what you will find through this introductory course, I'm going to present some teachings and writings from many of the much studied scholars on military science, such as Vegetius, who you may or may not have heard from, other military treaties from Sun Tzu. Everyone may be familiar with Sun Tzu Bing Fa, which is also known as The Art of War. from the great revolutionary leader Mao Zedong and his treatise Yu Chi Chan, which is also known as On Guerrilla Warfare, and one of the most classic studied treatises on warfare, which is by a Prussian general by the name of Karl von Clausewitz. So I'm going to present these writings in a way that you'll be able to apply them in your daily activities or your life, or even just give you another aspect or dynamic or paradigm thought on how warfare is applied in life and how these principles will aid you in any conflict or engagement that you have. We also have to define what a soldier is, because recently there's a Final Call article that is a reprint or excerpt from a lecture that the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan gave. And in the Final Call, the most recent one, there is a article called Business is Warfare, What is Required for Our Economic Independence, which is an excerpt from a 2011 lecture that the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan gave. And I'd like to just take a few excerpts and quote the minister from that article. One instance in the beginning, he says, if you don't see that we are at war, then you must be raised in consciousness so that you can participate in the war, because the war is for our survival. He later goes on to say that we're going to have to get up from where we are and go to work in order to survive and in order for us to prepare a future for our children. He later in the article towards the end says that business is warfare because somebody is vying for that dollar that you are vying for. So if they can outsmart you, if they can trick you, if they can give you an offer that you can't refuse, then they'll take your company from you because you don't have soldiers. And if you don't have soldiers, you will never be successful in business. Well, what is a soldier? Most times when someone says the word soldier, what immediately comes to mind is someone with an army, a government-issued weapon, government-issued fatigues, boots, camouflage, that type of thing. But a soldier is defined as one who works for a specified cause. That's a soldier, one who works for a specified cause. So in any one of those dynamics that, or major areas of human activity that Neely Fuller outlined, economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war, you will have people within those different major areas of activity that are working for a specific cause. So they can all be considered soldiers in their respective area of activity. Therefore, that being the case, I can take military science and apply it in each one of those dynamics. So what will you get out of this course, this introductory course? There are three things that we're going to cover. The first being the three elements that are necessary to carry out any mission. Some have heard of these, many have not. They're not familiar with this aspect of military science, but I always like to start with those three because a mission is simply an objective that you wish to accomplish or something that a job that needs to be done. And these are the three elements that are necessary to carry out a mission in order for it to be successful. If you have no knowledge of these things, then it'll be difficult for you to be successful, or having knowledge of this will make you more successful because you can apply and organize it in a military fashion, being that business is warfare. The second topic or second thing that you'll learn from this particular course is the four characteristics that enable a soldier to overcome fear. Why is that important? Normally, when I've done lectures or presentations on military science around the country, I always talk about the 9 common elements that are found in a combat environment. And when I go through the list of those 9 common elements that are found in a combat environment, I found through polls that most people, especially those who have not even been in the armed forces, are able to relate to or identify with most, if not all, of those 9 common elements, which says something about the environment that we live in, that we exist in, that we do indeed exist and live in a combat environment. I may go through some of those elements throughout this course so you'll understand a little better what I'm talking about. But with that understood, stress and fatigue and fear is a part of those elements. And So a soldier has to understand how to do his job under those type of conditions and be able to perform his job successfully to complete the mission. So we're going to cover the 4 characteristics that enable a soldier to overcome fear. And this, you'll find out, can be applied to many things outside of warfare. It can be applied just in your daily life, your daily activity, being a parent, being a counselor, being any position of leadership. And these are characteristics that you'll be able to pass on to someone else to aid them as well. And the third thing that you'll learn throughout this introductory course are the 6 troop leading steps, what is known as the 6 troop leading steps. Now, this particular comes from the United States Marine Corps. In my time as a Marine Corps veteran, if I did not mention that I'm a veteran of the United States Marine Corps as well. I was an NCO, a communications instructor, as well as a basic infantryman in the United States Marine Corps during the First Gulf War. I so happened to file conscientious objector out of the Marine Corps, just as the great late Muhammad Ali was a conscientious objector. After the First Gulf War, I actually went through the process, and I had been honorably discharged or discharged under general conditions as a conscientious objector. So these principles that I applied from the military, I was blessed to be introduced to a great leader in the Nation of Islam who's no longer with us, by the name of Captain Salim Muhammad. May Allah be pleased with his service. And that brother was my captain when I first joined the Nation of Islam in San Diego. And one of the things that he told me was not to throw away the materials and things that I had gotten from my experience and time in the military. He said that some of those things we can't use, but much of it is very useful as far as organization, etc. And I did as I was instructed, and I kept those books. And not only did I keep as much of that material as I could, I started gathering more material. And from the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I got a more thorough understanding, because the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us to go to the root of a thing. And when you get to the root of a thing, you have an understanding on a profound level as to the origin and how that thing starts all the way up to where it is now, and be able to, as I talked about earlier, being able to determine the nature of a thing or how something works. And so by taking that principle and applying it to military science, it opened my eyes up to another aspect of military science and the science of warfare that I had not considered before. So what you're getting is an introductory course that's rooted in the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, taking principles of warfare and the science of warfare and applying it in such a way that it may do the same thing for you that it did for me, or open your eyes up to another aspect of the dynamics of the science of warfare, which can be applied in all those major areas of activity, human activity that Neely Fuller Jr. outlined. So with that said, again, the 3 elements necessary to carry out any mission, the 4 characteristics that enable a soldier to overcome fear, and the 6 troop leading steps are the basics of what you're going to get out of this introductory course. There will be much more as we go through the course, but I just wanted to grab your attention and encourage you to sign up with and go through this journey with me on nation building, the introduction to the science of warfare. Again, my name is Brother Mikaeel Shabazz Muhammad, representing as the Allah Team Minister of Defense, and I'm honored to have been invited to this platform, and I extend that invitation to you all, no matter what your walk of life, to join me on this introduction course to the science of warfare. Greetings of peace. And to my Muslim family, Assalamu alaikum.